start us off with a roll call?
Mayor Lago.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Holland.
Here.
Commissioner Brownlow.
Here.
Commissioner Plum.
Here.
Commissioner Sanderson.
Here.
Commissioner Sawyer.
Here.
Okay, great. So Commissioner Brownlow is going to start us off with the opening prayer.
Bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you have given to this town and the people who call it home. We're grateful for the opportunity to gather here tonight to carry out the work of serving our community. We ask for your guidance and wisdom for this board, for our town staff, and for all who participate in tonight's meeting. Help us to listen with respect, speak with honesty, and serve this community with integrity as we carry out the responsibilities and the trust placed upon us. Grant us patience in our discussions, clarity in our thinking, and humility in our leadership. May the work we do here tonight contribute to the well-being of our community and the generations who will follow. We ask these things in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, if we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up on the agenda is public comment. Lindsay, do we have anyone? We do. Okay. So this is the time we get to hear from the public, their comments and concerns. If you signed up as you enter or step up to the podium, if you will please state your name and address.
Natasha Vogel.
This is not, you know, we need. Sound like all the top on here.
Yeah, we'll do.
This is actually positive. So.
Can we go ahead and clap?
All right, Natasha Fogel, 305 Bogomolets Drive. So I want to just thank the town of Emerald Isle, all of their support for this past weekend's fundraiser that we had for Captain Gilgo. We raised $42,000 in one event, and everyone was present minus Josh Sawyer, who is still in Florida, and nice tan. Thank you very much. I also want to say thank you guys for the continued support for the flagpole. It's coming along. We saw the crepe myrtle being moved today, or at least the progression of it. So we're hoping that it'll be done before Memorial Day, so then when we do our walk, Emerald Isle for Veterans, it will be done and over with. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you, Natasha.
Okay. All right. So that's it for the public comment for this time. Next on the agenda we heard you the follow-up to prior comments. On the back, we do have a printout of the comments and just follow-up from last month's conversations. But I do think it's fair to say that currently the town staff and everyone sitting up here has been really good at communicating and following up. So at this point, this will be the last time that this item is on our agenda. If anything does change and you all feel like you are not getting what you need from us, please just reach out to me directly and we'll reassess at that time and possibly put it back or find a different solution, okay? And then the next agenda item will be for Lindsay to confirm any conflict of interest.
Any conflict of interest, Mayor Lagos?
None.
Mayor Pro Tem Holland.
No.
Commissioner Brownlow.
No conflict.
Commissioner Plum.
None.
Commissioner Sanderson.
Yes, I have a potential conflict with item 14A, B, and C, and respectfully ask that I be recused as I am employed by the current parking contractor, UPP Global, for the town of Emerald Isle.
I'll make a motion to
conflict.
recuse Commissioner Sanderson from item 14A, based on the fact that she works for the company that provides our paid parking currently, although she's not compensated good, bad, or indifferent. But motion to recuse for transparency.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
No conflict.
Okay. Agenda item number 8 is the adoption of tonight's agenda. May I ask for a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, tonight we have the introduction of a new employee. So Interim Chief Coffee, if you will please join us.
Anyone recognize that stranger?
Is that
Not at
mustache?
all.
I don't recognize me either, so.
It's a hundreds of dollars mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Ray Go-Go.
So tonight, I am here to introduce you to Vincent Malizia. Unfortunately, he was unable to be with us tonight, but he prepared a little statement for me to read to you all. Vincent is originally from Hickory, North Carolina, and moved to Winston-Salem, where he finished high school and enlisted in the Army National Guard and served as an intelligence analyst. He graduated from East Carolina University in 2018, and after obtaining his EMT, began military contracting as an intelligence analyst for the Marine Corps Special Operations Command. In 2019, he began volunteering with Turkey Creek Fire Department, where he still serves as a lieutenant. Firefighter Malizia recently rejoined the military with the Air Force Reserves in 2024 and serves as a flight medic with the 315th Aeronautical Evacuation Squadron at Joint Base Charleston, South Carolina, which is where he's coming back from. He had his guard duty this weekend. He enjoys surfing and spending time with his wife and dog on the beach.
Welcome.
All right. Okay, this evening for agenda item number 10, for proclamations and public announcements. We don't have a proclamation tonight, and the public announcements were scrolling upon arrival, and they are printed out for you all on the front desk if you would like to take them. And then, so we can move on to a motion to approve the consent agenda. Did everybody here have a moment to review it earlier prior to stopping in?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so agenda item number 12. We will have Mrs. Satterfield present to us information about the installation of a Gold Star Memorial at the Emerald Isle Veterans Memorial adjacent to the boat ramp. If you'll please join us.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners, community, and Garden Club members who are here to support me. My name is Tula Satterfield. Okay. I am here representing the Emerald Isle Garden Club, and I want to thank you for giving us a few minutes to share a project that we believe will bring honor, remembrance, and beauty to our community. A woman once described the moment two uniformed service officers came to her door. Before they spoke, she already knew what they were going to say. Her son had been serving overseas. He was only 23 years old. In that moment, her life changed forever. She later said that the nation honored her son as a hero, but what mattered most to her was knowing that people would remember his sacrifice and the sacrifices of others like him. Families like her are known as Gold Star families. They carry both pride and profound loss, and the communities across the country have found many meaningful ways to honor them, and that is why we're here tonight. Through the National Garden Club, the Emerald Isle Garden Club would like to install a Gold Star Memorial in our town to honor the men and women of the United States forces, armed forces, who gave their lives in service to our country. These memorial markers are placed in communities across America as permanent tributes to those who made the ultimate sacrifice and to families who carry that loss. Our goal is to create a place where citizens can pause, reflect, and remember. We're proposing that the memorial be placed at the Veterans Memorial located at the Emerald Isle Boat Ramp. It's a site that offers visibility, accessibility, and a peaceful setting appropriate for reflection. The Garden Club has worked to raise the money needed for the memorial marker, $2,515, and we would like to partner with the town and local organizations to ensure that the installation meets all the local guidelines. Our club is also committed to maintaining the memorial marker so that it remains beautiful and respectful place for years to come. We have partnered with the Emerald Isle Vets organization to assist with the dedication, and I thank Natasha and Kevin for helping us lead that organization. And we plan to involve all branches of the military service in our dedication ceremony. The memorial would serve our community in many ways. It would honor those who have given their lives, given everything for our country. It would be a meaningful place for remembrance ceremonies. It would remind future generations of the sacrifices made to protect the freedoms we have today. A Gold Star Memorial ensures that in our town, the courage of those who gave everything for our freedom will never be forgotten. Tonight, we respectfully ask for the town's approval and support to install a Gold Star Memorial marker at the proposed location and assistance with the dedication services. We wish to have this dedication on April 16th at 2:00 p.m. April was chosen mainly because it's called a Purple Up Month. You may not know what a Purple Up Month is, but purple was chosen because it is a blend of all the colors of the military services, and is to honor the children and the children's sacrifices they have made just by being children of people who serve in our nation. And they have a particular day, it's April 15th. And so rather than choosing that specific date, we went to the next date and hoping to carry over that same theme and recognizing also the children and what the children have given in order for our country to be free. I thank you for your time and your consideration, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. This will be a great addition. Does anyone have any questions?
I think it's a wonderful honor that you're doing on behalf of those that have given so much, and we applaud you for that. That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We also appreciate the fact that the Garden Club is what brought us the Blue Star Memorial, which is currently at the Visitor Center, and that's been maintained very nicely, decorated for every military holiday and every major holiday in our nation. And we're gratefully appreciative of that and the Garden Club's initiative and so many things positive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Garden Club did a wonderful job. Your presentation was well put together, and the sacrifices that our servicemen and servicewomen, town's behind you 110%. Thank you for everything that you guys have done.
And thank you all, and please remember the date and come.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll be there. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 13. Planning Director John Neville will give us a quick discussion chat about an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance to clarify natural area calculation for oceanfront estuary lots.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Good. All right, today we are holding a public hearing for a proposed UDO text amendment in 6.4.4, 1 and 2 of the ordinance. The purpose of the ordinance amendment is to clarify that any portion of an oceanfront residential lot located seaward of the first line of stable vegetation and any portion of a sound front residential lot located waterward of the mean high water mark is not counted in the required 35% natural area calculation. The proposed amendment is consistent with actual practice by town staff and applicable North Carolina general statutes. You guys ready to pull up the TV? All right, I'd like to now direct everyone's attention to the television screens for some examples on what is being proposed. The official boundaries of some sound front lots extend beyond the mean high water mark and into the adjacent water body. While this area may be included in the total land area, town staff does not allow the area to be included in natural area calculations as vegetation. As you can see on the TV, what that is an example of a sound-sided lot that I just pulled up. The left side is a GIS picture example of the actual lot. So the blue line you see on the left is the actual lot line itself. The one on the right is from the North Carolina Division of Coastal Management, and it shows in green the mean high watermark. All right. According to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, water cannot be included in natural vegetation calculations in North Carolina because vegetation assessments specifically measure plant biomass, species density, and root structures for ecological health, whereas water represents a hydrological component that is measured separately. Vegetation and water are distinct ecosystem components. Essentially, while vegetation and water interact, they are fundamentally different physical components of an ecosystem that cannot be combined in a single vegetative calculation. All right, this next example is an oceanfront lot, and they're both the same lot, both pictures. Again, the left side in blue is the actual lot line itself. On the right is from the North Carolina Division of Coastal Management, and it signifies where throughout the years, through erosion and different aspects, the first line of stable vegetation has traveled. And it's around 2020. It's kind of hard to see on there, but you'll see where it kind of goes from sand to actual vegetation. That's about where it's at currently. The official boundaries of some oceanfront lots extend beyond the first line of stable vegetation and out into the flat beach area, which the public has the right to utilize in North Carolina. While this area may be included in the total land area, town staff does not allow the area to be included in natural area calculations as vegetation. And again, according to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, beach sand cannot be included in North Carolina natural vegetation calculations because it is considered an unstable, dynamic zone rather than a stable, established plant community. Regulatory definitions require vegetation to be stable and natural, distinguishing it from the dry sand beach subject to constant flux from waves, tides, and storms. Essentially, because beach sand is inherently unstable and subject to constant rapid change, it does not meet the regulatory definition of the stable, established native vegetation necessary for protecting coastal development. All right. There's another one. All right, Greg's moving. All right. So on this next picture, it's very hard to see, but it comes from North Carolina General Statute 77-20, lands adjoining coastal waters, where it specifically states the mean high water mark also shall be used as a seaward boundary for determining the area of any property, when such determination is necessary to the application of any rule or regulation issued by any agency. It goes on to say, the public having made frequent, uninterrupted, and unobstructed use of the full width and breadth of the ocean beaches of this state shall not be construed to impair the right of the people to the customary free use and enjoyment of the ocean beaches, which rights remain reserved to the people of the state under the common law and are part of the common heritage of the state. The bottom one that's highlighted states, natural indicators of the landward extent of the ocean beaches include, but are not limited to, the first line of stable natural vegetation. Next is just the article that was put in the newspaper. It ran twice, February 25th and March 4th. And next is in red, hard to see for y'all again, but I'm gonna read it out loud, is what we're proposing as the text amendment itself that's in red. Under 6.4.4, under 1 oceanfront lots, I'm proposing it to say the area waterward of the first line of stable vegetation cannot be included in the required 35% natural area calculation. Under number 2, estuary lots, is to say the area waterward of the mean high water mark cannot be included in the required 35% natural area calculation. On February 23rd, the Planning Board reviewed the amendment and unanimously voted to recommend the adoption of it. They also completed a plan consistency statement stating that the amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan and reasonable and in the public's best interest because the ordinance amendment will create consistency with North Carolina general statutes and will clarify how natural area is calculated in the UDO. It will also ensure consistency with current practices of town staff. All required public hearing procedures have been performed as directed by our ordinance and state statutes. Within the public notification period, we did receive 3 phone calls and 1 walk-in meeting where citizens asked for more information about the proposed amendment. None of them were opposed to it, and 3 of them actually stated they were glad we were creating this amendment. At this time, we ask the board to make a motion to begin the public hearing before then making a final determination. Thank you.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Would anyone here like to stand up and say a few words about it? Nope. Okay.
It's a great idea. How would we do it? Who determines the meaning of the word?
It's determined through CAMA.
Is that information published?
It is.
Is it on a map, or is it, because it changes a little bit, you know, so that's what.
Yeah, it's just in the current manual, and you can, yeah, and you can just contact planning department, we'll get it to you.
Okay.
Yep.
I got a question for the town attorney on the
Hold on.
wording. It
Do
might
we need
be-
to go out of public?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's public.
Can we make a
Sorry.
motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor?
Susan Brown.
Aye.
Sorry about that, Mayor. But is the, in the wording right there, it says vegetation cannot be included, and of course it repeats that again, cannot. Should that be shall not, or does it matter? Shall more permissive type, or?
Shall would be mandatory, so I think shall and cannot would be equivalent wording. May not would be permissive, so
Kind of one same, okay.
I don't see an issue there.
Are there any other discussions needed? Comments? Questions? No? Okay, shall we make a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Motion to adopt the ordinance amendment, amending the Unified Development Ordinance to clarify natural area calculation for oceanfront and estuary lots.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Good job, buddy.
Okay, agenda item number 14 is regarding our regional access parking program. Frank, if you want to start us out with a quick conversation before we move on?
Mayor, Commissioners, have 2 actions for your consideration tonight regarding the Regional Access Parking Program. The first one would increase the hourly fee that we charge for parking from $4 to $5 per hour. The second item for your consideration is a minor amendment to the contract with UPP Global that would change the the revenue sharing percentage associated with that contract. The net effect of these 2 actions, which I would ask you all to consider in tandem, in the sense I would ask you to approve either both of them or deny both of them, as opposed to approving one and denying the other. The net result of these actions would generate approximately $120,000 of additional revenue for the town per year going forward, assuming our past experience remains true in future years going forward. So we talked about this at your January 30th budget planning work session. We're getting ready to begin the parking program in just about 3 weeks on April the 1st. We expect to operate that program in the same manner in 2026 as we have in 2025 and in recent years. We'll start charging April 1st. That program would continue through September 30th. The hours for the fees are from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. During that 6-month period. In 2025, we generated total gross revenues of approximately $549,000. Under the current contract with UPP Global, they retained $113,000. There were $104,000 of operating expenses associated with that program, and the town's net revenues were approximately $332,000. As I mentioned just a minute ago, if you approve the actions on your agenda tonight, that number for the town would increase by approximately 120,000, would take us up to about 452,000 for 2026 and beyond. The contract with UPP Global is a 5-year, actually was a 3-year contract with a 2-year extension, 5-year total. That contract actually expires at the end of the current parking season. We would propose to continue with the current arrangement with UPP Global through this year. As we discussed at your January 30th workshop meeting, our intent, and we've already begun work on this, is to gather information and different options on any potential changes to the parking program for next year, whether that's changes in the vendor, whether that's changes in the technology, whether that's changes in the contract structure with UPP. We'll look at all of those options and bring you information back to consider, hopefully by late summer, early fall. Under the current contract with UPP Global, there is a formula that results in the net revenues that I just explained to you a minute ago. But essentially, you take the gross revenues, you deduct the operating expenses associated with the program. One of the unique features of that contract is that there's a minimum guarantee in that contract that UPP provides regardless. It has an index tied to inflation, but essentially this past year it guaranteed a little more than $218,000. That guarantee would go up to about $225,000 next year. The way the contract works now, when you take the gross revenues, when you deduct the operating expenses and the guaranteed amount provided to the town, the balance of that is split 50-50. And so there's a detailed financial breakdown in your packet. I won't go through all of that with you. But essentially that resulted last year in a grand total of about $226,000 being split 50-50 by the town. So you'll hear me refer to the 50-50 split. It's not exactly a 50-50 split. It's after all these deductions occur in the formula. So what's proposed for your consideration tonight is that fee increase. Again, $1 an hour, $4 up to $5, daily maximum of $20 up to $25. That is competitive with the rates charged by Bogue Inlet Pier and by the town of Atlantic Beach. We think that that's a reasonable increase for the town to consider going into the next year. And then the companion item associated with it changes that that revenue sharing formula from 50-50 to 65-35. So it's still the same basic formula. However, after you back out the operating expenses and the guaranteed amount, the remainder would be divided 65% for the town, 35% for UPP. I think that's important because we are potentially increasing the fees and generating, like I said, a gross of another $130,000 next year. I wanted to promote the town retaining nearly all of that revenue. So the recommendation for you is to change that revenue share to 65-35. That essentially results in the town retaining $120,000 of that $130,000. UPP would retain the other $10,000. So that would certainly be helpful to us as we enter the budget deliberations for next year. Like I said, we'll research other options over the course of the summer and come back to you if there's other adjustments we can make. I'm sure that everyone in the room wants the town to maximize the revenue from the parking operations for our town. These revenues are used to fund visitor services in the town, whether it's the lifeguards, whether it's police officers on the beach, the operations of these facilities, et cetera. So I think clearly all of us want to maximize those revenues going forward. So I will stop there. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have about that. And again, I'd ask you to consider the fee schedule amendment and also the resolution authorizing the contract amendment.
Okay, thank you, Frank, and thank you for going back to renegotiate the contract. I think that was a really good win.
Yeah, and I do want to just say that in discussions with UPP, they've been very cooperative on that, and they appreciate working with the town. So it was an easy discussion with them.
Okay, awesome. So let's open it up for discussion amongst the board. Who would like to begin?
I'll say, Frank, thank you for your work on this, and staff, Laura, and everybody for helping out with the numbers. Because as you know, we've had a resident who's highly concerned about the town losing revenue over this contract. And with that, I've dived into it pretty deep, and I've talked to Frank at some length, and I've asked staff to provide a lot of information. Some of it's still pending. And with that, I don't feel like I'm making a fully informed decision at this time on it, enough to make I guess some kind of decision, but a lot of it's still pending because there's still a lot of questions out. And if this was a business, and it kind of is, and you want to be a good steward of, I want to be a good steward of your money, because that's also my money in there, that you probably wouldn't approve this contract. It does not have the town's best interest at heart, which is, this involves your taxpaying dollars. And because when you remove the gross revenue, then you take out, the UPP takes out their operational cost, has no cap on that, and has no description of what that could be. All right, so they can deduct whatever number they provide, UPP provides their operational costs, and then they get 50% what's left out of that. The other part of it, out of the gross revenue, the town gets their guaranteed minimum payment, and then they get but they don't get we don't get to deduct our operational cost from the gross revenue. And that is a significant factor in this whole thing. And I think it would behoove the town and our taxpayers, if I'm being a good steward with your money, to request that we be able to deduct the town's operating costs, such as pumping the septic tank, solid waste pickup, which gets very expensive during the summer months. During the summertime, how many times do we pump that septic tank in the summer? Like twice a week?
Quarterly?
Just quarterly? And do you know what the approximate costs are?
800, 900 bucks?
No, it's $1,050.
$1,050. And so we're covering those costs. And so the town absorbs a lot of the operational costs. And these are just a few of the items. I mean, I've got a whole slew of them. I'm asking for information on who pays what. Does UPP pay for this, or does the town pay for it? So in a sense, and it's your parking lot. It's our parking lot. And so the contractors come in and should help manage and absorb some of the risk. There is a certain level of that they do take off the town by managing the parking lot. But the biggest thing is that there's the town is still leaving a lot of money on the table and providing a lot of money to put it in other pockets besides back in your pockets, or trying to keep your taxes low. And I've been trying to find ways to get revenue and so we can do everything we possibly can without having to raise taxes on us, because we just got hit with a revaluation, which were off the charts. Insurance is going up like what is it, 30% now for coastal insurance. And it's going to be very difficult to live around here unless we take great strides in finding ways to reduce spending and cost. And one thing we could do here, we could do better than what we're getting out of this contract.
Well, I think, if you don't mind, I think one thing to keep in mind from my perspective is that we're not signing a total new contract. We're just trying to extend it for the next 3 to 4 months so that we can get through summer, correct?
Yeah, it's actually not an extension. The contract is still in effect.
Okay, so this is a
basically
renegotiation.
through this season. So we're simply continuing in the final year of what ultimately will have been a 5-year contract. But, in terms of the contract structure or the revenue sharing formula, I think potential changes to those things will be among the many items that we look at this summer when we look at the technology, different vendors, what the right contract structure is. But this is a contract that's currently in place.
I'll just add that we have a 90-day out of this contract. But until we know where we're going, we can't make that decision. I've done a lot of research. There's a lot of technology. People have recommended the gate system. Well, there's technology past that now. And it appears that the expense of doing the best technology is cheaper than the gate. So we have a lot of research to do. And once we finish doing that, then we can say, we want to get out of this contract and move forward and generate the revenue that we need for this town, that we keep. So we're working on it. I think what we're proposing today is in the right direction, just to generate more revenue now as we gather more information so we can make some final decisions.
Very good point. Josh?
I'm with Commissioner Plum. For one, I think if we did, get out of this contract now, that's going to put, a heavy lift on Parks and Recs to try to, in 90 days, figure out something new, staff it, the whole 9 yards. I think it's, and like Commissioner Plum said, the technology out there, there's just so many options. I think we should take a little bit more time to research and study, and we might end up in a lot better situation next year.
Right after Jason has a moment, we'll come back.
Plus, we can't, excuse me, I don't think it's in our best interest to make a change in the middle of our busiest season, which is May to September. Nothing goes as planned. We all know that. I wish it would be a perfect setup. We could order it today, it would come in and we can change it, but we're not there.
Okay, Jason?
I'll just, kind of high-level statement. I'm happy to entertain a gate system. I'm happy to entertain a license plate reader system. I'm happy to entertain any other option compared to the one we have now, whether it be better, worse, indifferent. But I'm only happy to entertain that option once staff has provided the proper research. Like or not, this is a business. We have revenue, we have expenditures, we have a bottom line. It's a business when it comes down to it, and it's your money. It's our money. It's my money. I don't have a personal dog in the fight, but I'm open and willing to listen to any option provided, make an informed decision based on that information provided, but not until then. I'm happy to entertain an idea of the parking fee increase for now. We discussed it and we determined that, loosely determined that middle of March coming into our busy season isn't the time to rip out everything we have and try to jam something in there by the middle of the year. Based on traffic counts provided by our town staff in our busy season, we can have as many as 30, 40,000 cars or visitors coming on and off this island in a week. I think we're in a good direction. I think we're on a good path. Again, just to echo, I am happy to look at any other option that will be beneficial for the town and beneficial for the taxpayers of this town. But before I make that decision, whatever it is, town staff has committed to getting us the research, getting us the information, getting us the factual data, and we'll take a look at it and we'll go from there.
Okay, great, thank you. Roy, did you have something else to add?
Yeah, I got just a couple more questions, like, Frank said that we're probably going to be getting about 130 more thousand out of this, and we're going to throw UPP another $10,000 bonus without changing the level of service they provide. We're not getting anything else on that, and they already agreed. Apparently, there was some meat in that contract. They had room to spare because they accepted it. So I don't understand why we're giving them $10,000 out of that extra revenue, because then that changes it really. It's not a true 65-35 then.
No, actually, if you go through the formula that's outlined in the contract that I described earlier, if you change that revenue sharing formula to 65-35, it results in total town net revenues of $452,000. UPP would go to $123,000. This past year was approximately $113,000. It was part of the negotiating process. My goal going into this was really twofold, really threefold. One was to generate the additional revenue for the town and make that change at the beginning of the parking season. One was just to keep it simple and straightforward. It's a very minor, easy contract amendment. And then third, just to encourage a continued cooperative relationship with UPP. I think they've done a good job for the town over the last 4 years or so. And so the goal was to retain nearly all of the additional money for the town. So I agree with you that there's really no additional work for them associated with this, but it was part of the negotiating process. They could have certainly said, hey, we're not interested in doing that. And quite frankly, if they weren't, I wouldn't be sitting here tonight asking you to approve the fee increase, because I want the town to benefit from all that money as opposed to sharing it 50-50. So that was the rationale behind it. Whether that's good or bad or agree or disagree, that was the thought process. And it was all part of being cooperative and having a good relationship with them for the final year. So.
Is that a guaranteed amount that we have to pay regardless of the amount we collect?
Well, nothing's guaranteed. Well, what I will say, $225,000 is guaranteed. That's part of the contract. So if, God forbid, Hurricane Frank comes in and we have a horrible year, they're going to be on the hook for $225,000. If we have a relatively normal year, those numbers I quoted for you are pretty accurate. We think those are reasonable projections, but who knows? Maybe we're closed down for several months and we come in less than that, or maybe it's just a crazy busy year and lots of folks there. But I think those are reasonable estimates that we provide.
And if we get our minimum, because Hurricane Frank is, say, 225, or are we going to have to give up 10,000 of that to make sure they get their 10, or?
No. It's formula-based, right? So it's going to depend on what the actual revenues are and what the actual expenses are and how that formula is applied. But based on our experience in 2025, that's the estimate we have for this year. And I shouldn't have said Hurricane Frank, I should have said Hurricane Mark.
And,
Frank's terrible.
I think I'd feel better about this if the town could also subtract or deduct from the gross revenue its operating expenses and then split the money, do the profit share.
Yeah, so I think that's certainly a reasonable format for the contract, but that's a more complex negotiation going forward. And so, at the end of the day, both parties, the town and whichever vendor or contractor we select, they're looking at the bottom line. But we can absolutely consider those things going forward. We have other expenses at these facilities in terms of trash, building maintenance, septic tank pumping, all of those kind of things. We've also got other expenses for visitors, police service on the beach, lifeguards, all sorts of things. So we can absolutely look at changing the format of the contract going forward, but at the end of the day, people are going to look at the bottom line of those numbers.
If we're voting to amend the contract tonight to do the different split, then I was thinking it'd be a good time to include that in there. And then if UPP doesn't like that, then they can discontinue the contract and give us a 90-day notice, or they can accept that. I think that makes the playing field level by doing that.
The board certainly has that option if you would like to do that. I think if you try to make that dramatic of a change in the contract, clearly that's not going to be acceptable to UPP, and we're not going to move. My recommendation to you would be to not move forward with the fee increase and just keep the status quo, but that's an option available to you. Again, we were trying to honor the final year of the contract, keep it simple, and most importantly, generate additional revenue for the town heading into this year's budget. So.
Okay, so at this time, are you all ready to make a motion and take a vote? Are you good?
One question just for
Please.
clarity, just so that everybody, just for clarity. Should Commissioner Brownlow's request be entertained to renegotiate that $10,000 part of the contract, or UPP would have the option to say, all right, we'll be out of here in 90 days, right? If that is possible, or if, let's just say theoretically, if that transpired and we voted to include the recommendation by Commissioner Brownlow and they said, no, we're taking our ball and going home, in theory, UPP could be out of here in June and we would get potentially a lot less or nothing in parking revenue for this fiscal year. Just right or wrong, you can educate me and anybody else.
No, it's certainly all hypothetical, but
Right, sure.
So for example, if the board approved the fee increase, but approved a minor contract amendment that changed that cost-sharing formula, say, to 6733 or 6832, or just simply said UPP staying with the same 113,000, they may decide to accept that. They may decide to walk in 90 days, which puts us in the middle of June. In that worst-case scenario, we certainly would still continue to operate a parking program. In a worst-case scenario, we'd have town staff out there collecting payments from people. So we'd continue the program. But again, going back to the goals behind the actual actions presented for the board tonight is to generate additional revenue, honor the final year of the contract, and also maintain that cooperative relationship with them.
But as it stands now, as presented from town staff to the board, if we adopt both resolution or one fee schedule amendment and the parking contract, we are still looking at a potential increase in revenue of $120,000, but we are still actively looking at other parking options, whether it be a gate, whether it be a license plate reader, whether it be a renegotiation with UPP. We still have that on the table for discussion within the next 60 to 90 days.
Yeah, so here's how I would answer that question, and if I'm not being clear, please tell me, and I will attempt again. I would say, I would not recommend to you that you approve the fee increase and not the associated contract amendment, because if you approve the fee increase and you don't approve the contract amendment, UPP could, under the contract, could easily say, well, that's fine, we'll take 50% of the additional revenue, and it'd be $65,000. Now, that would probably upset all of us in this room, and that may cause us to cancel the contract within 90 days. But I think, that's why I think I would recommend to you either approve both of these or approve neither of these, would be my recommendation going forward. Certainly, regardless of what you do here tonight, we're still going to go through the analysis that we'll look at contract structure, different vendors, different technology, other options available, regardless of what you do tonight.
Based on what you're telling me, what I'm hearing is if we approve both of these, we have a bird in the hand, and we have options going down the road.
I think so, yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the proposed fee schedule amendment.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sorry.
Aye.
Okay. So the
I'll also
motion,
make a motion to adopt the resolution amending parking contract with UPP Global.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're not voting. Oh, you make the motion. All those opposed, that's what I was waiting for.
Opposed?
Okay. Okay, so it passes.
One.
We will proceed with the parking program on April the 1st. Certainly report back to each month on how we're doing with revenue collections this year. The other thing in conjunction with that, we'll start the lifeguard service on April 1st as well. So Lindsay and Fire Department Interim Chief Coffey have been working hard to recruit lifeguards. We think we've got a good group coming on board this year. So thank you.
And I'd like to just clarify for the record, the reason I voted the way I did, even though there was money in the hand, there's just a lot of information that's still vague and ambiguous in this contract and then how much the town is actually spending on this. And if I'm being a good steward of your money in good conscience, I can't approve this kind of changes without the information I requested, and hopefully I'll get it soon and I'll know more about what's going on. But that's like, voting on something that you don't know if it's going to float. Is this boat going to float? I don't know, but let's just vote for it anyway. So that's why I chose to vote no at this time. But staff did a good job on preparing the negotiations and everything. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Roy. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 15. We're going to discuss the Reed Drive Stormwater Pump Station, the installation contract, and then possibly passing the budget amendment to fund this process.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
You should back in.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome.
Still got to do a motion.
Oh, a motion to welcome Alicia back?
So moved.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor Lagos, Commissioners, very pleased to be presenting these two items for your consideration tonight. We talked recently at your budget planning workshop meeting about the Reed Drive Pump Station project. I described to you the proposed strategy at that meeting. This would make half of that strategy a reality if the board approves the two actions tonight. So you have before you a resolution authorizing a contract with Sunland Builders. They're a local company on Highway 24 in the amount of $124,980. That contract would provide for the installation via horizontal directional drilling of about 1,500 linear feet of stormwater conveyance pipeline. And it's basically represented by the red line on the map on your screen. You'll see that it basically goes from the intersection of West Seaview and Reed Drive, would traverse to the north along an easement graciously provided by the Futrell family, so appreciate their cooperation on this. Would cross Highway 58, would then move on to the Old Ferry Road right-of-way, which is a town street right-of-way, and ultimately would discharge in an upland area near Archer's Creek. It would then flow over land and ultimately be filtered and make its way into the creek. This project, as I mentioned,
Dire Street.
It's a good song.
Great song.
Sultans of Swing, I think, right? Yeah. So at any rate, this would provide the pipeline installation associated with this project. As we discussed on January 30th, the town already has materials on hand for the actual pump station housing and the actual pump and some of the other components associated with that. So the strategy presented tonight is to proceed with the installation of the pipeline, which is probably the more difficult piece of this. Get that in the ground, and then come back to you all perhaps in April, maybe May, with a separate contract to install the actual pump station, connect everything together, with a goal to hopefully have this operational prior to the 2026 hurricane season. Those of you that have been in Emerald Isle for a while, and certainly Joe Smith and I have been through many flooding events on Reed Drive over the years, you know that this is a frequent nuisance flooding area in town. Historically, our approach has been to deploy portable pumps and fire hose and pump the water to some location that it can ultimately flow into Archer's Creek. And so thankfully, that's not an everyday occurrence. That's maybe a few times a year, hopefully less than that. So we would expect that this is essentially going to put a fixed pipeline in, a fixed pump station in, and we'll be able to turn it on immediately when we have these kind of flooding events in the future, and it'll mimic what our historical reactive response has been. We think that it will resolve the concerns there effectively going forward, and I know the residents in that area would be very appreciative of that. So it's a contract of $124,980. When we talked at your January 30th meeting, we talked about potentially issuing up to $250,000 of new debt for this project and financing that over a 5-year period. That is not what I'm presenting for your consideration tonight. As Laura Rotsford explained to y'all during that budget workshop meeting, we're fortunate that property tax revenues are coming in better than anticipated for this year. And so the recommendation, and there's a budget amendment to this effect in your packet, is to appropriate $125,000 of additional property tax revenue for this contract that would enable us to avoid issuing any debt. And then the intent would be to come back, as I said, either in April or May with a recommendation for the pump station installation and probably tap into some additional property tax revenue at that time. So hopefully we can get this project done, provide a benefit for the community, and have the expense fully absorbed in the current year's budget. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about this. Certainly Joe Smith is here as well and can speak to the historical operations there. We believe this will be effective and look forward to hopefully getting it complete.
Okay. Thank you, Frank. I know this is a long time coming, this project. Yeah. Any questions or discussions from anybody?
Frank, what's the timeline for Sunland's work on this project?
Yeah, they're probably about a month out before they can get started. As I mentioned, it's horizontal directional drilling, so it should be minimal impact on the community. There'll be a few open holes here and there, but for the most part, most people won't realize it. So.
Great.
Okay.
I make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing pipeline installation contract with Sunland Builders, Inc.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion passes.
That's a good project, and that's a real good price for that, too, for what we're going to get out of the community benefits. Thank you guys for doing your diligence on that.
Okay, can we also get a motion to adopt the general fund budget amendment?
Motion to adopt the general fund budget as amended.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, all right. Moving on to agenda item number 16. Lindsay, do you have anything to share with us? No? Okay, Frank, we know you do, if you would like to get started. Or Mark first, anything to add?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Okay,
Thanks for
Frank.
repping over there.
That's why you got the green shirt on. So. Several things in the written materials, just a couple of highlights to hit on, and one thing that's not in the written materials. I met with the Carteret County Shore Protection Office yesterday to talk about the next beach nourishment project on both banks, including Emerald Isle. They are preparing to go out to bid later this summer for a comprehensive project that would affect at least 3 of the towns, maybe all 4 of the towns. The contract would be structured so that the dredging contractors would have the option of completing the work in the winter of 2026, 2027, or the winter of 2027, 28. I think that's a wise approach for them to take because it may result in a better overall cost. And thankfully, the beach needs some attention in some areas, but it's not critical at this point in time. So I think that's a good approach for them and wise stewardship of the funds that are available. Conceptually, we're looking at a scenario where the Emerald Isle project may cost somewhere in the $18 million range, plus mobilization and demobilization expenses. We're working on a concept where the county would bear those mobilization and demobilization expenses, and then also fund 2/3 of the project cost. So we're looking at maybe the town coming up with around $6 million, hopefully the county coming up with $12 million plus. There are 3 different reaches in eastern, central, and western Emerald Isle. There are the identified hotspots based on all the surveys that are done annually. So it's good news, still pretty early and conceptual, but I just wanted to get it on people's radar screen. We're fortunate that we've got a robust beach management plan, and we're fortunate that we've got the funding streams in place to do these kind of things when we need to do them. So St. Patrick's Festival this weekend, just want to publicly thank Candace Dooley and her staff and all the volunteers and many others who are working on that event. Always such a great thing in Emerald Isle. A bit of perplexing news. We took the guaranteed maximum construction price for Fire Station 2 last week. I had estimated that it would be somewhere in the $2.7 million range. That's the amount of FEMA funding that we have available. Unfortunately, they came back with a cost of just shy of $4.5 million. And so that is significantly higher than the funding the town has available, roughly about $1.8 million. So over the course of the next week or two, we'll be working with D.R. Reynolds, working with Interim Chief Coffey, working with Finance Director Laura Rochford, trying to come up with a strategy to fund that project. I hope we'll figure something out, and if so, we'll present that back to you at your April meeting. If not, we may need to make a significant adjustment in that project, and we'll see how it goes over the next week or two. I'll certainly keep you all informed via email along the way. So one thing I will say, I feel like we will absolutely complete a beneficial project at Fire Station 2. I just want to make sure that, at least at my level, I help you all achieve that in the most fiscally responsible manner going forward. So fireworks on July 5th, Bougainville Pier said yes, and so that's great. Really looking forward to that. Earlier on the agenda, on the consent agenda, you all approved a budget amendment and allocated some funding for repairs to the playground at Senator Jean Preston Playground, so glad to move forward on that. Candace tells me the contractor's probably not going to be able to do that work until May sometime, but we're glad to move forward on that. Lots of other things in here. Real quick, the Cape Emerald Pond dredging is underway right now. It's been a little challenging, but we'll get it done. We finished the deer hunt. We took a total of 48 deer during January and February. We have actually finished the coyote trapping effort. That just wrapped up yesterday. Unfortunately, we only took 3 coyotes as a result of that effort. So I think there are some lessons to be learned there. Among those, that maybe it's not worth doing it for 3 coyotes. Maybe another lesson is that we should have started earlier in the season. Apparently, we got into too much of the warmer weather and the mating rituals and so forth. So we'll have a final report on that for you, and I'll share that with you when I have that probably here in the next few days or so. Oh, one last thing, Reed Drive, Bowbanks Water's been working out there. They initially had planned to repave the bike path in the street this week. That is not going to happen. They had a little bit of a construction glitch there. But the path is usable. It's a gravel path right now. I think it's safe for people to use carefully out there, but they should be paving hopefully next week. And again, lots of other things. If you have questions about those things or anything else on your mind, I'm happy to help.
Thank you, sir.
Could we make sure that we mention that, because I know that a lot of people use that section of the path traversing back and forth to the St. Patrick's Festival, and maybe get that information out with the next blurb that goes out about the festival.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Frank? Okay. Then we'll go ahead and begin the comments from commissioners. Alicia, would you like to begin down there?
Sure. All I have is that I'd really encourage you all to get out and go to the St. Patrick's Festival. Let's give all of our businesses, not just Emerald Plantation, a little boost to the economy, and let's hope for a successful season. Also, thanks to Emerald Isle for veterans, the Emerald Isle Fire Department, many volunteers from the town for the show of support for Stuart Gilgo this weekend. It was amazing. Thank you.
Okay, Josh?
Just like to thank staff. I know you guys have been working really hard on the St. Patty's Day Fest. I can't wait to go out there. I hope to see everybody there. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for your work on the parking contract, Frank. Think you did a fabulous job there, and looking forward to seeing you guys next month.
Just like to thank everybody, the citizens, for your participation, your interest in what's going on in your community. Thank the staff for the fantastic job they do, our EMS and police and our administration, and just all of our departments do a tremendous job. Public Works especially out there busting their butts. I see them on the roads just working hard all the time. And I have to say that the brush collection with the knuckle trucks is one of the best investments I think we've made in the town money, and it's very much appreciated. I saw something here too that's been a popular request is getting more lighting on the bike path, and it looks like you got 6 more lights coming in.
We've got a quote for 6 more lights. It's about $16,000, and that's something that we're going to be considering as part of the budget process, and potentially include that in the recommendation to you.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for that.
Okay. Jason?
Sure, thank you. First of all, thank you to everybody that participated in the fundraiser for Captain Stuart Gilgo as he goes through his fight with cancer. The hosts, the volunteers, everybody that donated, everybody that participated. It was very, very amazing to see the community come together like I knew they would. I had no idea it would be on that scale, but $42,000 in a day, not counting the legwork that goes into that. It doesn't solve all of Captain Gilgo and his family's issues, but it certainly lessened the burden, and I was honored to even just witness that thing happening. So thank you to everybody that played any size part in that, and prayers still go out to Captain Gilgo and his family. We, last year, I think it started the year before, if you remember, you recall, the Adaptive Surf Project of North Carolina approached the town, and they wanted our assistance, our help in putting on an event. And if you don't know what the Adaptive Surf Project is, it is an organization, a nonprofit that helps people with disabilities get out on the water and go surfing. Commissioner Brownlow can speak to that. He's a surfer. I'm not, but he was out there participating, volunteering, and the town did a really, really great job of backing them up. March 22nd, there is a fundraiser for the Adaptive Surf Project, North Carolina. I'm not sure, they said it takes $6,000 per event. I'm not sure if that's per year, but per event. But nonetheless, if you haven't checked them out, go on social media, look up the Adaptive Surf Project of North Carolina, watch some of their videos and their pictures. Not being a surfer myself, but just trying to be a good person, it was pretty spiritual to watch what those volunteers and participants went through. Took my niece out there for the day and just bore witness. It was really, really great. So again, I'll ask the town, everybody with a servant heart, and to get out there and back up the Adaptive Surf Project in North Carolina. They're great. It's easy for us to forget that most of our problems are quote unquote first world. I just encourage everybody to always remember that there are those that don't have it nearly as good as we do, and remind us all, not the board, not the mayor, not just the town staff, but everybody in the room, to lead with a servant heart and love each other with grace, compassion, and understanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. Chris?
Yes, it was amazing to see everyone out Saturday at the fundraiser. This town never ceases to amaze me how we all pull together when we need to. So thank you for that. as we get into the warmer weather, I appreciate the staff. The town is waking up. There's a lot of housekeeping that's being done on our landscaping, and it looks nice. More to come on that. I'm also working on a 4th of July celebration, so more to come on that, trying to have something for everyone. And also working on a project with Croatan High School to form a youth advisory committee to give our youth a voice, to get them more involved in civic engagement and develop their leadership skills down the road. So more to come on that as well. And I appreciate you all for being here tonight. Please keep the lines of communication open. Email me, call me. I respond to every email that I get and every call that I get. So thank you.
Thank you for everyone for being here tonight. I had quite a busy month just getting out and starting to meet people on a different level. Early in the month, Frank and I attended the mayor's dinner. Mary Ann was there with the county commissioner. And we got to hear from the Carteret County Transportation Committee and what they're trying to do to bring just accessibility and mobility throughout the county. So that was fantastic. I went to the town and state dinner put on by the North Carolina League of Municipalities down in Wilmington. And so I got to spend some time with our state legislators and as well as other local officials through other beach towns like Oak Island and all around. So that was nice to start forming those relationships with the other elected officials. The hospital groundbreaking happened just last week, I think it was, maybe 2 weeks ago. And that was fantastic to be there and to witness that change happening in our community that we're all going to benefit from tremendously. There was also a Chamber of Commerce awards dinner for our local businesses, and I was happy to see that Jillian Lister, part of the Farrington family, she won Small Business of the Year award, and then Gaffers was also nominated on a state level with the North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association for what they do for our county and community as well. So it was a really great just month to get out and network and meet people that are kind of making changes. We started the kickoff for a civic-led events association. So we did push it out on social media, but we're trying to get together a group of folks that are interested in helping Chris put together all of her events that she has in mind. So there's a QR code that you can scan. I'm hoping to get some flyers put up around the community. Right now, we're just in the beginning stages. We don't have a name yet, so if you want to start brainstorming on that too, that'd be great. But really, thank you all for being here. Thank you to everybody that makes this all happen. I think we're moving in the right direction. That's all we got. All right, so
I make a motion to go into closed session for personnel pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6, consultation with the town manager. I don't foresee any action taken after the board reconvenes from this closed session, so this will be the final action taken by this board for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Alicia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Oh, meeting adjourned. No,
Nope.
not yet.
You're close.
Going into closed session.
We'll have 5 minutes.
I want to push that one. It's Auburn. I can't.